Shadowverse Worlds Beyond is out, the sequel to the original Shadowverse card game, and if you are a new player just starting out and looking to see which deck you should build, what you should be doing in order to maximize the somewhat low currency you get in the game, then this is the video for you. My name is Different Fight, and I have been an official commentator for the Shadowverse esports circuit for 4 years now, and I'm also one of the official ambassadors of the card game, the physical card game version of Shadowverse, Shadowverse Evolve. I've been playing the original Shadowverse since it came out 9 years ago, and I've been really excited for Worlds Beyond, so I'd say I know a thing or two about Shadowverse itself, so let's get into this and see which things you should be doing to get started. First things first, before anything else, it's the first fairer missions. When you get started with the game, it's going to jump at you with these first fairer missions after you do the tutorial. They're not only going to give you about 5 packs to start with, but they're also going to give you a choice of your very first deck, which includes a legendary card as well. There's 9 decks to choose from, so it might be pretty hard to see which one you actually want. The first thing you want to do is clear these first fairer missions, but before you pick your deck, I want you to do something else. You're also going to want to stay tuned until the very end of this video, because I'm going to give you a very special tip that is going to help you throughout your time playing Worlds Beyond, so you won't want to miss it. So after you finish your first fairer missions, the thing that I'll want you to do before you start opening packs and choosing your deck is go to solo and to do the battle tutorial. Not only should you be finishing the battle basics, which gives you 700 rupees, which is about a pack and a half, but I want you to go through all of these battle tutorials for the existing classes, because this will basically give you another 4 to 5 packs for a total of 6 packs just from this. It will also give you an explanation of how all of the decks in the game for now work, and you'll actually get a good idea of what you might want to build down the line. After that, I'm going to want you to go down here and on the bottom left, go to invite friends. Lots of people are posting up their invite codes, and you'll be able to get a bunch of extra rupees just from progressing in the game. You can share your invite code. I even invite you to share it in the comments below. And then just by entering someone else's invite code, you get another 2,000 rupees, which will give you another 4 packs. After that, it's time to go into the shop and open some packs and get pull-in. What you can do to get some more packs is actually go to your additional menus and also go to your other, and then click on your link with Shadowverse. And then once you've linked it to your old Shadowverse account, if you already had one, you'll get some bonus stuff as well. You also want to go here and link to your Cygames ID, which will give you another few more packs. So that way you've opened as many early packs as possible, and now you've seen the general pulls you've had too. Now open all your packs and see what you get. And then in terms of choosing your first fairer deck, we go in 2 different paths. The first path is simply going with what you got the most legends for. Legendary cards are the ones that are hardest to craft in the game because they take 3,500 vials. And quite a few decks do require quite a few of these legendaries to be fully maxed out and be competitively viable, or not viable, but at least competitively optimized. So for example, if you pulled, 6 rune legendaries from your packs, there's no point to get the Haven starter deck because you've already progressed so much to finishing the rune one. So might as well get the rune one, get that last cool one you might be missing, and a bunch of the golds and silvers and bronzes that will help you to have the first start. The other path though is to go with the recommended decks I'm going to give you in this video. One is budget, but they're not exactly the most beginner friendly, so they might take some time to learn. 2 is beginner friendly, but not as budget. 3 is very competitively powerful, but also requiring a lot of legendaries, so they will be the hardest upgrade. And then the 4th are the ones that I don't recommend as much for starters, unless you pulled a lot of their legendaries. The first one I recommend is Forest Craft. The reason why is because Forest Craft requires the least amount of legendaries to be the top deck. The top players in the rank ladder in the first day of the game were all Forest Craft players, and they were only running about 1 or 2 legendaries. And if you're curious, the early deck you can build with just a starter deck basically looks a bit like this. You get 1 Aria from the starter deck already, and then just by making another one, or even just with the one you have, everything else is basically golds and below. The main key card of the deck is Killer Rhinoceros. He's basically like your win con that powers up the more cards you play in a turn and has Storm to attack the turn that he's played. Then you have things like Lily that help you take care of your opponent's field. You have Godwood Staff that helps you draw cards and bounce your stuff. And Bale is of course very important in being a free board clear, together with Glade that helps you refill your hand and take out your opponent's wide board. As you can see, this deck is very easy to build up, and I'll put up the QR code here so you can just scan it and get started. By picking the Forest Craft deck, you basically just need 1 extra Aria, and then you're basically just using your vials in order to just build up the golds. I would also prioritize getting the golds over the second Aria because she's not as important. Some of the winning Forest Crafts decks don't even play Aria, they just play 1 Olivia and that's it. it. So you can also use that Olivia list and just replace the one Olivia with the one Arya you have from the starter deck and then build up the rest with the golds and below. The deck that I personally recommend the most is Artifact. Artifact is, in my opinion, the best deck, not just for starters, but just in general one of the best decks. It only requires one legendary, which is the Ralmia that you get from the starter deck. You do want to get 2 extra copies of her, so you would want to build towards these legendaries. This deck is a little bit complicated at first because it requires you to fuse your cards and make a big robot, and there's like a whole flow chart and everything explaining it. I'll make a video on how to use this deck, and it's actually really straightforward once you get started with it. So I honestly recommend this one by far the most. You're going to want a bunch of golds, but you do get some of them from the deck, such as Miriam as well as the Alouette. And then it'll just come down to like crafting down your last few golds and then basically your extra Ralmias. And then if you want to take this deck an extra bit, or if you pulled some of your Orcuses for the puppet deck, you can also splash it into this as well. So for example, Orcus works really well because her super evolve is basically generic. So you can also build it in this approach as well. So these first decks I really recommend because Forest is really cheap to upgrade and Artifact just needs one legendary, and it's honestly going to be giving you a lot of win streaks. The next deck that I think is super beginner friendly, unlike these first two, and really easy to get started with is Sword. This is the one I chose myself as well because it gives you one Albert and one copy of a lot of the good golds as well. So it's already a really good start, and it's going to be very fast, so you'll win a lot of games throughout the early turns too. A first budget sort of build for it would look something like this, where you're actually running 2 of the Alberts, so just make an extra second one. And I personally do think that the deck gets a lot better if you have the Olivia, so I would prioritize crafting her as well because she's neutral and can be used in a lot of different classes, so you're not going to feel too bad about crafting her because of the fact that you can splash her into many different decks later down the line. This deck doesn't have as many golds. It's basically just Gino together with the Zirconia, which you get 1 copy of from the starter deck, as well as the Vals. So while you might need to craft a little bit more legendaries, you can also forego the Olivia and play something like extra copy of Night Rending or some more of your 2 and 3 drop officers and commanders as well. Now, if you pulled a lot of Haven and Rune legendaries, you got lucky because those are also some of the best decks, but those decks do require quite a few legendaries. The Rune one gives you 1 Kuon, which is really good. It's one of the best boss monsters in the entire game right now. And the Haven one gives you 1 copy of Jeanne d'Arc, which is also very powerful, but the finalized decks of them do have a lot of legendaries in them. You are looking to have 3 copies of Dimension Climb because this is basically like your kind of like cheat card. You get almost like a free turn from this. Your Kuon, of course, is very important because he basically spawns like a 10-10 with Storm on it. And then you really want the Anangrea because she really helps to push the spell boost gameplay while also giving you board clear and a really annoying follower that the opponent has to take care of. And if they don't, then the Anangrea goes away unscathed. So all 3 legendaries for Rune are really, really important. And so because of that, I do think that if you pull a lot of legendaries for Rune, I highly recommend picking this just to get your last Kuon if you're missing it. And the same kind of goes for Haven. Haven's legendaries are all 3 of them are really, really good. The Jeanne you get from the starter deck, she's board clear together with buffing your own board, which works really well with your amulets. The Rodeo is really strong because it pushes out your amulets from your deck and then does some board clear as well. And then especially finding something like Dose of Holiness can destroy more stuff on your opponent's field as well for no extra cost. And the Salifa is really good because she gives you healing while also giving board clear. So overall, this is really good if you're into a more control style playstyle. So far we have the combo oriented Forest and Artifact. We have the more aggressive Sword, and then you have the more control oriented Rune and Haven. I guess Rune is a bit more combo slash control, so it's a little bit hard to categorize there. The other portal choice with Puppet is also decent because the deck gives you an Orcus, which is generically usable throughout all of Portal Craft. So if you've already pulled 3 Ralmias, then you might not really want to trade for that extra Ralmia. You can just exchange for the Orcus one instead. And the Puppet deck itself is really not too bad because this basically just needs the 3 Orcuses and then 1 copy of the Yudi, which is the generic card in Portal. Then everything else is just you need 2 types of golds and everything else is silver and below. And this deck is definitely quite strong as well, just because it uses a very strong win con of the Orcus, basically giving Storm to all of your puppets, and Noah buffs your puppets, which then gets Storm later down the line. And you have some really good tempo swinging cards like Mecha Cavalier and Sylvia to help you stay in the game as well. The 2 star decks I don't recommend as much are Dragon and Abyss unless you pulled a lot of legendaries for them. The Dragoncraft starter gives you 1 copy of Gardew, which is a really strong card and gives you some good golds to get started as well. But looking at some of the winning lists, they're not necessarily using some of the golds, and also they need a lot of the other legendaries too. So looking at this ramp list has been doing really good. Burnite is an important legendary that kind of like puts a debuff debuff on your opponent and also gives a board clear. And then it uses the Olivia neutral as well, which of course helps to, if you ramp up your play points, it gets to swing games pretty aggressively too. So overall, there's a pretty high commitment for a deck that right now feels like it's pretty good, but it's a little bit harder to upgrade compared to the other ones. Abyss is also somewhat similar because it also requires quite a few legendaries, and it is relatively good because it has a very aggressive playstyle. You do get one copy of the Starburst from the starter deck, which of course is the most important legendary to have, so it's already a very good start. But if you're looking to upgrade the deck, you're gonna probably want another couple extra Cerberuses, a couple Medusas, 3 of the Olivias again. As you can see, she's really coming up a lot, and then quite a few of the golds too. So you got Ceres, Rage of Serpents, Orthrus, Fildau. So it's a pretty expensive deck to build, and I feel like if you're investing this many vials, you might as well build Artifact or Haven or Rune. So you really have to look at what you've pulled and your remaining resources. All right, so you got your first deck built. You now know what you want to start building towards as well, but how are you going to do that? What should you be doing now after getting that first deck? Surprisingly, it's not jump into ranked and start going, it's actually do the park missions. Shadowverse Park is an in-game lobby inside of Shadowverse that basically gives you a way to socialize, and it's one of my favorite parts of the game compared to the first Shadowverse 2. And it's really important that you do the missions because the quests give you a bunch of points that give you a bunch of other rewards, and the main reward is these chest keys. These park keys might not seem like much, but they have some crazy rewards they can give you. So the park chest here gives you so many things here. You can even win 100 pack tickets, and one of my friends, Echo, actually managed to win them and then finish the entire first set right after getting his 100 packs. So you really want to be getting these because you can hit legendaries. You can also get a lot of avatar assets, which aren't as great, but you can get rupees, you can get tickets, you can get vials, you can get cards. There's no reason not to be doing this, and you really want to be doing your park missions every day. You also want to join a guild because in a guild, you get a ranking based on how good the people inside your guild are. So if they've been doing ranked and playing games, you get a bunch of rewards, and the best one is once you get your guild to S class, you get enough vials in order to make a legendary card and a pack ticket for the next set that's bound to come out, and also this cool little like emblem icon thing too. Also, just getting to A rank will also get you enough vials for one legendary, but I'd say you want to at least get to B because that already gives you 2,000, which is a big increase over the ones below it. I think you also really want to be doing the bingo missions that you get at the very beginning as well. And just by playing games in Shadowverse Park in general, you get a bunch of rewards that you see here too. And just by playing one game every day, you basically get a chance to win a bunch of rupees. And you want to be doing this every day because this will allow you to get a bunch of extra prizes. I'm sure they're going to be doing a lot of events inside of the park going forward, so you really don't want to miss out. The other thing they do is every weekend there will be weekend tournaments, and these rewards are pretty good. Just by getting 4 wins, you get enough vials to craft the legendaries that basically gives you a legendary every single week. You get a pack ticket, 2 packs worth of rupees, as well as 3 of the chest keys. So I really recommend, even if you don't get any wins, you still get some vials and, a little bit of rupees. So it's still more than if you don't do it at all. And just by playing 2 matches, you get yourself an icon as well. So, you play your 4 games and then you have a chance to, just upscale in prizes. So it's really worth to do it. Once you're done with all your park missions, it's time to get into ranked, because ranked actually gives you a lot as well. Just by getting ranked divisions, you get rupees, and this also helps to progress your battle pass. This is arguably one of the best things that if you're going to spend money in the game, it's probably going to be the battle pass. The regular battle pass itself gives you about 9 packs or so just for completing it. And then if you pay for the premium battle pass, you get about 5,000 rupees. You also get about 10 packs, a legendary card pack, and also 300 crystals. So the 750 crystals, you get 300 crystals of them back, and then a bunch of other packs. So in terms of the actual crystals worth, the battle pass is by far the best. And it's really easy to complete it. I mean, I've only been playing for a few games in day 1. I'm already level 8. Now, if you're starting to get a bit low on cards and not enough vials to actually craft them, I want you to go to the liquefy screen and to go to liquefy manually, because your premium cards do not go into liquefy automatically. And the thing is that in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, unlike the original Shadowverse, you can only liquefy cards once you have 3 copies of a card already. But if you have more than 3 with, for example, animateds, it won't count them. And so you can also have just the animated versions and not have the regular ones and just get rid of them. But the crafting cost does change quite a bit. So you really, I think, want to start getting rid of some of these animated cards if you don't want them. As you can see, I've really cleared up a lot of my animated ones, so just kind of like get rid of them and like look at this, just getting rid of some bronzes and basically getting myself a few hundred vials, and that's going to help me craft some golds too. The crafting costs have also changed quite a bit in Worlds Beyond, so now unlike before, bronze cards cost 50 to craft, silvers cost 90 to craft, golds cost 750 to craft, and legends are the same with 3,500. However, what really changed is the liquefy cost, and that's where a lot of the controversy for the game has been going on in day one. So this is the general chart. So if you liquefy a bronze, you get 10 vials, but then a premium bronze is 30, a silver is 20, but a premium silver is 50, a regular gold is 200 vials, but a premium gold is 450, so it's really worth to get rid of the premium golds. And liquefying a legendary is 1,200, but then a premium legendary is 2,500 vials. Unless you're a really big fan of aesthetics, I would really recommend getting rid of all of your premium golds and legendaries especially. The silvers too, they're going to really add up, so unless you have like a favorite class that you really want to keep like the animated cards of, I would generally speaking get rid of all of your premiums, because these will give you vials to print and make more cards and in order to make more decks. Now if your wallet is starting to get itchy and you do want to spend on the game, the thing that I recommend the most is, first things first, you want to be buying your crystals, if you are buying any, on the Cygames store. These will literally give you more crystals for the same cost. The only thing you can't buy is the $2 10-pack bundle. That one you do have to buy in whatever platform you're using, whether it's iOS, Android, Steam, or Epic Games Store. I think that thing is the most worth buying because it's basically $2 for 10 packs. You're not going to get a better deal than that. But then if you're gonna buy crystals, buy them on the Cygames store, and if you are gonna buy them, the first thing you should buy is the premium battle pass. There's nothing more worth than this. Also, if you play Shadowverse Evolve, the 10th booster set gives you codes in every booster box, and you can enter up to 5 of them to get a bunch of packs and a bunch of cosmetics as well. So if you have any friends also that play Shadowverse Evolve and maybe they're opening a bunch of boxes and they don't need their codes, make sure to ask them, because those in-game rewards are actually super worth it. But now you might be thinking, all right, I've followed all your tips and now I've got my first deck, I'm getting pretty good in ranked, but I want to find more deck lists and be able to find more decks in general to build. And now we're going to tell you about the tip that I kind of hinted at towards the beginning of the video, which is the place I use to find a lot of the deck lists that I use in game. And that is Shadowverse Master. That is a website that's been around since original Shadowverse that basically not only tracks a lot of the win streaks that people post on Twitter, but also reports on any tournaments that happen. Shadowverse has a huge esports circuit that we're going to get a lot of tournaments going forward as well. So you can just scroll through Shadowverse Master and find deck lists for all the different classes, and then you can just open them up on the Shadowverse portal and then find them immediately. Within the game itself, you can actually click up top here and then you can go to deck portal, which will show you a lot of the popular decks as well, but they take a little bit to show up. And then there's a winning list button as well, where you can click winning decks, and then this will show them once it's updated. The game's only just come out, so there's nothing here yet, but this will also be a good source for the decks that are winning tournaments that you can copy and start winning with as well. And that's going to be it for this first tips video. If there's any other tips that you feel like I missed and you feel like everyone should know about, make sure you write them down in the comments. I really recommend going through all the solo mode stuff and the compendium and getting all the possible rupees you can, because they're definitely a lot more tight than I expected, and packs cost a lot more token than I expected too. But if you're looking to play Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, I really recommend you subscribe to this channel, because I'll be covering a lot of the decks that are best to play in ranked, a lot of decks that'll be winning tournaments, and other tips and tricks that will help you get better at this game too and get to the top ranks. With that, if you like this video, give it a like and let me know in the comments how you feel about Worlds Beyond right now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.